I think on 25th night, Santa dropped by and gave me my health back. Because in the morning, I woke up and I did 45 minutes of yoga and I had a hot water, cold water shower. And by the end of it, I felt strong and fresh and energetic. And even my face looked so happy and healthy. I went downstairs and breakfast was a feast. It was all organic, it was excellent quality, and what an extensive selection. The hotel could have easily halved the selection and made a better profit. Even then, it would have been considered a good breakfast. I think the owner is an American lady who's a Francophile, and this hotel is her creative project. And I've seen her Instagram page where she was so excited about every little thing that she added to the hotel, the carpeting, the paintings, the bookshelves, the doorknobs, everything. I think the entire thing is more a labor of love than a business. And so I think because she sees it as an extension of herself, she's not really willing to cut any corners. And I don't mean just with the guests, but also with her own staff. Every day in the morning after breakfast, I'd go to the kitchen and just do 10-15 minutes of time pass with the staff who had taken care of the breakfast service, because it's an intensive 1 or 2 hours. There's a lot of work to do. You have to refill stuff, you have to keep clearing tables for the next guests. And Europeans have this bad habit of taking one plate each time they go to the counter rather than reuse the plate that's already with them. I don't know why they do that, but then at the end of it, they have so much more to clean up. Yet, these women, oh, by the way, they were black women, damn cool, so sexy and sassy and lots of fun. Everything they said sounded funny, and they would be laughing in the kitchen. They just looked much happier than staff do at certain other places. I always look out for how the staff are being treated, and it's not very easy to enjoy your meal when you know that the person serving you isn't being treated well. But here they were all happy and singing and laughing. I can still hear the way they would laugh after breakfast service was over. They were also eating the same food that the guests were eating. So when I say she doesn't cut corners, I feel she doesn't do it for anyone. She treats everyone well. I liked that. So I'll tell you what all they had, okay? There were 4 or 5 different types of cheese. Fresh, soft, hard. And every day the selection would keep changing. One section of cold meats, which somehow never interested me. Fresh yogurt and then fruit yogurt. There was a bowl of cut fruit and nice fruit, kiwi and strawberry and berries, peaches, very tasty fruit. And then a separate bowl of the usual banana, apple, pear. There was a tray of tomato, cucumber, carrot, radish, celery. And it's nice to have a little bit of vegetable in the morning. Otherwise everything is too sweet. Then there was an oats section. So they would make these little muesli jars, Birch muesli jars, but there would also be everything that you needed to make your own muesli fresh. Then boiled eggs and scrambled eggs. Then, then of course the bread section. So there's one tray of enriched bread, so muffins, croissant, pain au chocolat, cinnamon rolls. And then there was an oven where you could warm it up so that the butter would melt and it would taste nice. And then a whole selection of whole grain breads and rolls. Organic butter, then 2-3 types of organic jams, so citrus, berry, quince, everything. And then on one side there were just these huge glass jars of almonds, walnuts, hazelnuts, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, chia seeds, flax seeds, prunes, apricots, raisins. Then there were these other jars of butter, nut butters, peanut butter, almond butter, cashew butter, and then chocolate hazelnut spread, pure hazelnut and pure chocolate. Then what else? Then of course an espresso machine for coffee, fresh milk, soy milk, almond milk, all sorts of organic teas, and now that I'm listing out all of it, I'm realizing what a thoughtful, generous, nutritious breakfast it was. I think it's my favorite that I've ever. Well, it's my second favorite ever, but definitely my favorite in Europe. Uh, it's always a nice idea to have a good breakfast. Those days are good because then it sets you up well, and then I don't feel hungry till at least 3 p.m. Breakfast was very, very nice, but that's not why 26th was my favorite day. It is because of something I saw. How do I? Okay, let me preface it with a question. What does a broken window mean to you? A broken window. It makes me think of two things, both of which I studied, or it used to make me think of two things, but now it makes me think of three things. But we'll get to that. Here are the first two, just hold on to the gist of it. The first is something called the broken window fallacy in economics. I asked my friend Gautam what fallacy is in Hindi. I asked him if it was vehem. He said, no, not exactly, it's bhranti. That was a new word for me. Anyway, the broken window bhranti. At some point, an idea was floated that when property is destroyed, destruction creates new wealth. And it sounded counterintuitive, and the explanation was that if there's a terrorist attack or if there is an earthquake, then all the buildings and windows that need to get repaired create new jobs, and there's need for new material to replace everything that got destroyed, and in the process all of this activity creates further wealth for the economy. So what's so bad about it? Destruction should be looked forward to. Destruction creates wealth for the economy. But no, this was a fallacy because it ignored a key concept in economics called opportunity costs. And I won't get into it, but the idea is that there are a lot of hidden costs or unseen costs that need to be considered while making a full evaluation. And opportunity costs are basically unseen costs. So that's the broken window fallacy. There is another broken window thing called the broken window theory. This one's actually a bit more popular because it was in a book called Freakonomics, and because the New York Police Department actually used this theory to reduce crime. The theory is that if in a neighborhood a single window is broken one day and that broken window is left unrepaired, it will eventually lead to many more windows being broken in that neighborhood. Why? Because the neglected window is a signal that nobody cares about this neighborhood, or that there are no costs or repercussions for damaging property, and the expectation that no disciplinary action is going to be taken makes the neighborhood an easier target for vandalism. Of course, broken window is a symbol. It's symbolic of all sorts of neighborhood crime, things like graffiti or small robberies. Abstracting from this, what the authors were trying to do was to establish the idea that disorder breeds further disorder, and the opposite is also true. Maintaining order ensures that further order is maintained and neighborhood crime decreases. So if you punish smaller petty crimes and take strict action, you ensure that bigger crimes aren't committed. They also said that this was true irrespective of how posh or rundown the neighborhood originally is, which basically meant how white or how black the neighborhood is. This theory was heavily criticized and continues to be heavily criticized on two fronts. Academics question the data, they question the robustness of the study, how it was conducted. Most of the criticism, though, is political, mainly because the New York Police Department used it to to justify something called racial profiling, where the police are allowed to stop citizens on the mere suspicion that they are about to commit a crime. And who were the majority of the people who were stopped and frisked? Blacks and minority ethnic groups, so Asians and Hispanics. So, okay, lesson over. This is the background. Broken window fallacy, broken window theory. So when I see a broken window, or when I saw a broken window, these were the two things I would think about. Until I went for a walk in the Latin Quarter. What's the Latin Quarter? The 5th and 6th arrondissement, which, if you remember, Yassine said was his favorite because the Luxembourg Gardens are there. So on the 26th, the plan for the day was to go visit the Luxembourg Gardens.